9 most deprived areas in Scotland. Under normal circumstances, no country would want to deprive any part of its territory. However, think about this. Why do people move from one part of a country to another? If they are not internally displaced by war, insecurity, or natural disaster, they move because they want a more quality standard of living. If truly they can have access to a better life elsewhere in the same country, the area they are living in is most likely deprived. Are there places like that in Scotland? I mean places that are deprived? Certainly, as you would see in this video about the 9 most deprived areas in Scotland. Of course, there is never a country whose all areas are equally developed or enjoy the same social amenities. It's simply impossible to have an even distribution of wealth in a country. Even so, the gap between the haves and have-nots shouldn't be too wide as we have it in the case of the most deprived areas in Scotland. How do you know if an area is deprived? To spotlight deprived areas needing more governmental attention, the data from the Scottish Index of Multiple Deprivation, SIMD, comes to bear. To determine the level of deprivation, the access to health, housing, education, income, employment, security, and social service was measured. The following places are found to be the most deprived based on those yardsticks. Number 9. Barlanark, Glasgow. Let us start with Barlanark, a district in Glasgow, situated on the east of Haghill, Shettleston and Springboig, and northwest of Baillieston, that also shares borders with Springhill and Swinton at the west, and with Easthall, Easterhouse and Wellhouse at the south. The SIMD yearly rankings have been rating Barlanark alongside other areas in Glasgow as the most deprived areas of Scotland by official data. The road leading to the area is of lesser quality. About 31% of the Barlanark's residents at the east end of Glasgow can be classed as income deprived. This is double the national average. Also, some 29% of these people are employment deprived. This is triple the national average, while 15% of them are on prescribed medication for mental health, which is double the national average. Number 8. Pitkerro, Dundee. The next of the most deprived places in Scotland can be found in Dundee. We are looking at Pitkerro, an area in Dundee. Together with Carntyne and Hilltown, also in Dundee, Pitkerro falls within the worst 10% of deprived districts in Scotland. The Pitkerro House, which was remodelled and re-landscaped by Robert Lorimer in 1902, has done nothing in taking Pitkerro out of the rank of the most deprived areas of Scotland. The area once had 3 primary schools and 1 secondary. The oldest being St Saviour's RC High School, which was eventually closed in June 2008 when the decrease in the number of pupils couldn't be controlled. The school was merged with Lawside Academy at the next academic session to form St Paul's Academy. A similar fate befell Mosgiel Primary School and Mid Craigie Primary School the following year. Other schools in Pitkerro were amalgamated in 2018. Considering these educational disadvantages alone, you would agree that Pitkerro, with its 2 major stores, is one of the most deprived areas in Scotland. Number 7. Merkinch, Inverness. We now head to Inverness, where we find Merkinch among the most deprived areas in Scotland. Merkinch, whose name means Island of the Horse, is in the Highland Council area. It is one of the oldest settlements in the area of Inverness, situated in the northwest of the city and flanked by the Caledonian Canal to the west and River Ness to the east. Despite being very close to one of the wealthiest areas, the area with a population of roughly 4,500 has more than 2/3 of it struggling under employment deprivation and fewer income earnings. If you travel to sections such as Coronation Park, Bridgeview Drive, Mill Court and Rosehaw Road, listed alongside Merkinch as the deprived areas when the haves and have-nots of Inverness are being discussed, you would understand why Merkinch is included here as one of the most deprived areas of Scotland. Number 6. Coatbridge, North Lanarkshire. Coatbridge, the area whose name is derived from the Olden Bridge carried the ancient Edinburgh-Glasgow road over the Gatsherry Burn in those days at what is now Coatbridge Cross, is also one of the most deprived areas of Scotland. The North Lanarkshire town is about 8.5 miles away from Glasgow towards the east and set in the central lowlands. The report shows that employment levels within the area of North Lanarkshire are the 3rd worst in the whole country, and Coatbridge is the worst hit in the area. It is one of the communities there that are still wallowing in a poverty cycle, while governments of all levels are being criticised that they haven't provided a coherent response. The deprivation didn't start today. As far back as the 1920s, Coatbridge has been suffering from air pollution, partly due to the worst excesses of industry and neglect. A recent SIMD report also named Cliftonville's 3 tower blocks areas in Coatbridge as one of the most deprived in Scotland. Number 5. Buckhaven. Worse than Coatbridge is Buckhaven, a town on the east coast of Fife. It is the next one of the most deprived areas in Scotland. It is ironically less than 20 miles from St Andrews southwest, the area ranking 24th least deprived. The SIMD report rates that Buckhaven, Denbeath and Muiredge lowest for income, employment, health and education. Consequently, Buckhaven is also rated high in crime, no thanks also to the security neglect. Number 4. Alloa South and East. Going by the SIMD data, Alloa South and East District still maintains the slot of the most deprived area in Clackmannanshire, having 2 data zones in the 5% most deprived areas in Scotland. There is a high unemployment rate here, which is of a serious concern. It is also among the most health-deprived areas. It is not easy to move within the area to access good health facilities. It doesn't have enough quality educational facilities. It is very tough to live happily in this area due to deprivations. Number 3. Ferguslie Park, Paisley. The deprived Ferguslie Park is a residential suburb located at the extreme northwest of Paisley in Renfrewshire. The bordering town to the west, just 8 miles away, is Linwood, while Glasgow Airport is to its north. The area has long been among the most deprived areas in Scotland. The area is in a shambles now, according to a retired labourer, after 499 people living there left. The derelict abandoned homes there have become places fit only for hunting for scrap metals to be sold by ex-convicts and those hooked to drugs living in Ferguslie. Out of earnest desire to turn the fortune of the place, Renfrewshire Council has planned to demolish many of the homes in the area and rebuild the place by constructing new affordable homes. However, the abandoned area has become a haven for the crime, which has become a big issue in the park. This has led to a rise in violent crimes by 40% in 4 years, and dishonesty has moved up by 28%. Number 2. Carntyne West and Haghill, Glasgow City. Following Ferguslie Park on the list of the most deprived areas in Scotland is Carntyne West and Haghill, the second most deprived. Carntyne, or Carntyne West, is a suburban district in Glasgow, situated north of the River Clyde and located in the east end of the city, while Haghill is a residential neighbourhood also in Glasgow, situated the same place with Carntyne. These 2 locations collectively form the second most deprived area in Scotland, according to the latest Scottish Index of Multiple Deprivation, or SIMD data. They are ranked poorly in all yardsticks used in this measurement. Number 1. Greenock, Inverclyde. The most deprived area of the most deprived communities in Scotland is Greenock, a town and administrative centre in the Inverclyde and a former burgh within the county of Renfrewshire. It's in the west central lowlands. Out of almost 7,000 locations in the latest statistics from SIMD, each section of Greenock makes the list of the most deprived in each of the 7 criteria, including crime, health, income and unemployment. Greenock has featured in the 3 past statistics of the SIMD as one of the 3 most deprived areas of Scotland. In the most recent list, it occupies its pride of place as the most deprived area. Please note that those areas mentioned here are not the only deprived areas in Scotland, but based on the facts presented in this video and from my personal findings, these are the 9 most deprived areas in Scotland. If you know any other more deprived than the ones mentioned here, I will appreciate it if you can share what you know. You can kindly mention your yardsticks as proof that those places are deprived areas of Scotland, probably more deprived than the ones mentioned here. Thank you for watching this video, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell.